alive! It's alive! It's alive!
I want to play a game.
Hello and welcome to the Sounds from the Grave podcast. My name is Yussef.
And my name is Vania.
And remember, rule number 1 is cardio.
Yes, so if you guys are not following the rules of Zombieland, then you definitely should, as it could actually help you prepare for the next zombie apocalypse or Halloween Horror Nights. So we are here with actually a very highly anticipated podcast that we've been excited to record because I feel like everybody has dropped their own versions, but you can also listen to another version, kind of like our version of our very best and kind of mediocre Halloween Horror Nights guide. So tips and tricks for you how to survive the night at Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah, so how to, whether you're a first timer or you've been going for many, many years, and you need a refresher, or you want to just try and get the most out of your experience. So we kind of built this little guide for that. So, because we're both veterans of HHN at this point. Like we've been for over 7 or 8 years now. So
11 for me. Let's go.
9 for me. So I'm almost there.
Mhm.
But yeah. So we figured, we've been at it for a while, and we've kind of learned things as we go, as to how to maximize our time, how to get the most out of the experience, and that kind of stuff. So we figured, why not do this? Help out the people that aren't as knowledgeable, or just want to know more. And we've been excited to do this episode for a while, just because it's going to be a lot of fun for us, and we're just kind of waiting as we were getting closer to the event too, just so that way it's a little bit easier to kind of keep track of what you're trying to do there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with the refresher, like he said. And of course, for those of you who are new, bear with us because it is our first time referring to our 2 episodes ago. How are you?
It's our first time, so be gentle.
Be gentle. Bear with me. But yeah. But how should we start?
Yeah. So when I was writing the rough draft for this doc, I was like, okay, it'd be interesting if we kind of broke it up into 2 sections. So the first section is kind of preparing for the event itself. So the kind of stuff that you might want to do before going to Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have a couple different things there. The first one being just super easy one. Visit the Horror Nights website. Get good ideas, see what everything is being offered, whether the houses, the scare zones, the shows, if once those get announced. So we haven't gotten all the announcements yet, so that way you can kind of get an idea and plan ahead. It's I really want to focus on going to see Beetlejuice, so that's going to be my first my main focus. I'm there to see Beetlejuice, and then everything else I'm going to try and watch, but my 100% got to be on there is Beetlejuice, that kind of thing. So that way you can see everything that's being offered, help you plan it out. And that way you're a little bit better prepared for that.
Yeah, so, of course, other than visiting the HHN website, of course, be Twitter trash. Because we were following that like hawks, especially if you're a first timer and you are probably wondering why we're so obsessed with HHN. This is where you're going to learn. You're going to learn today, boy, girl, non-binary, them. What have you, all the lovely creatures out there. Love you. If possible, watch some IPs to get a better idea of what you'll be seeing at the event.
Yes.
Of course, now that Universal has been getting into the habit of inviting very popular IPs that can relate to all sorts of ages and crowds, especially for anything from the young adults all the way to the veterans of horror, especially those who have been growing up with horror from the 70s. There's always something for everybody. So there's a lot of IPs that they have brought to the event. It has never failed to be amazing.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, you can still have a really good time and a lot of fun going through those experiences, even if you haven't seen the IPs. That's still going to be a fun time. But I feel like if you get a chance to do, explore the IPs and watch the movies or watch the shows, going into the house, you have a better idea of like, oh man, look at like the detail that they put into this thing. Like it's exactly what it looks like on the movie or what exactly what it looks like in the show. Because I feel like it always kind of heightens the experience for it, like the immersion. Like I just did this. I just finished watching Hill House again to literally to prep up and like get ready and like okay, oh see the things that I saw in the show in the house. So like
I
that's
definitely agree.
yeah, and I even did the same thing with Killer Clowns. I hadn't seen Killer Clowns in like over a couple of years when it got announced. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go back rewatch Killer Clowns, and I feel like it made my experience with the house better in terms of seeing all the detail, seeing all the scenes, being redone in the house almost perfectly.
I Well, my favorite thing about the IP, sometimes I like to go into the IPs blind. Don't do that. Don't. This is not an advice you should follow from me. Um, I have been very guilty of walking into IPs blind and actually getting into the show afterwards and actually really appreciating what the amount of detail that they put into it and being able to later see it in the show or in the movie. I think that's something really awesome. I think for me, I think I've seen Poltergeist before. I just was very rusty at it. So when I walked through the house and watched the movie again, I definitely appreciated the amount of detail that they put into that one.
For sure. Same as like same as something like Us. Like Us is very, very movie accurate. So like if you had seen, if you hadn't seen the movie, you're like, oh, that was really cool. That was really interesting. But if you had seen the movie, you're like, wow, that is, spot on detail. So, that's like a really nice tie into that. But Vanya, what is the slogan for HHN 30 this year? Like what is their big, like slogan for it?
You're really about to make me say it out loud?
Yeah, I want you to say it out loud because I'm a
Say
jerk.
it out loud. Anyway, Twilight reference. Hi. Hey, Universal, make a Twilight house. Kidding.
God, don't, please don't.
Please don't. Never go alone. Make plan with some friends. This is number 3.
Yes.
If you're anything like me and you like to be the squishmallow and you like everybody to be your little billboard and they're still going to come after you when they scare you, try to go with some friends so it makes it more bearable for the experience, especially if you are a chicken like me and Yussef. Someone please replay a clip of me and Yussef going into the dark at Morrow's Nightmare, but you get the idea. But yeah, go make some plan with some friends, and hopefully, if you guys are doing whether one night or multiple nights, there's always something to plan for, especially as you go with your friends, especially if you guys don't want to do the same boring thing like go to the mall or go to a theme park. Wait.
Oh my god.
Oops.
Like, yeah, and don't get me wrong, it's not bad going by yourself. It's still pretty fun. But I don't know, there's like something different about going with a group of friends. Like just having that adrenaline bonding experience together. Like it's one of those like, oh, remember when this happened in our house, or like remember when this drunk guy almost fell in the line because it's happened.
A lot of times,
so yeah, I feel like it's such a fun way to get some really good memories of like friendships and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so especially with the HHN community, I feel like that's not going to be any problem at all for any of us. If you're anything like us, we like to splurge a lot of money, and like we have claimed in the past, I think HHN 30 has been the most that we've ever spent.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Any kind of HHN event, and it is get some. Well, this is not just the HHN merch. We're talking about any horror merch, especially if you're horror fanatics like us. Get some spooky merchandise, especially if you're able to, and let your horror colors shine.
Yes, like. It's what's really cool about Horror Nights is that you don't get the same merch every year. They always get new merch to tie it around that year. So, it's one of those things where if you don't buy it, you're probably not going to see it again.
Yeah.
Type of thing. So, especially if it's something, especially if it's something like your first event. So, you really want to commemorate that experience of like, hey, it was my first ever Halloween Horror Nights and I got my shirt, I was like, this was my year type of thing.
Yeah, but if it is your first time and you just want to know or get an idea of what to wear, just wear anything that you're passionately in love with in the horror genre,
Correct.
whether it be Freddy or
Yeah.
Child's Play or Jason
Like
or a clown that has
balloons.
weird tendencies and slicing girls in half. Terrifier. But other than that, yeah, anything that tickles your fancy in the horror world. So just wear it. Just wear it proudly, or just be like me. Just be a big titty goth girlfriend or e boy, whatever you guys are into nowadays. But
Yeah.
yeah.
But our next one is it's very important when it comes to actually buying your tickets. So if you are, it happens where not a lot of us have the income or we just don't have the time. There are some people that can't do the multi-night passes. You can't do the Rush of Fear, can't do Freak and Fear, or for whatever reason. So if you are planning on going for just the one night, we definitely recommend getting the Express Pass. Every year the event gets bigger and bigger. More and more people come, so it's harder to be able to see everything as much as you can in one night. So we would both definitely recommend getting the Express Pass in that option because it definitely helps to curb a lot of the lines and really it allows you to see the most possible in one night.
I personally have never done Express at Halloween Horror Nights because I will tell you guys in a later during the event section. But if that's your strategy, I mean, I highly recommend it. But especially if you're doing the multi night, or if you want to try and work with my strategy that I'm going to mention later. If you're going for one night and try and save the money, you can, but just be mindful that it doesn't work 100% all the time. Because I have attempted it many, many times on busy days, and it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work as well, especially if you're going on in the middle of October or any busy days like Friday or Saturday, which I never go through. So just Express Pass.
Yeah, because I did it back in 20 because I was going with a friend of mine and we were like, man, like the last 2 years we only got to see two houses, three houses at the most, and we really wanted to watch more. So we're like, you know what, let's go a little bit extra. We'll get the express passes, and that definitely helped us out a lot. We got to see another three houses. So we got to see three houses and another three. So we're like, yeah, we felt like we got the most out of the experience with that. So, speaking from my personal experience, I think it's worth it if you're doing a single night ticket.
But and number 6. I remember that they will still be charging prices for parking. So after 10 p.m., it is free, but there is also you could try and get to the park before. There's like different packages for HHN, like they do like the stay and scream where you stay in the park, and then they'll let you go to the houses early before anybody else. That's actually only going in for Halloween Horror Nights.
Mm-hmm.
But especially if you're going for one night and you're trying to get that free parking, just don't. But if you want to, I suggest spend the $22, and I feel like the earlier you go, the more you get out of the experience.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're really trying to save that much money, I feel like you go after 10 p.m. The park tends to be a little bit less crowded around 11 p.m. because everybody has definitely gone through their stuff.
Yep.
The houses, so after 11 p.m., the parks and the houses are a little less busier. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot speak for Friday or Saturday, but for Wednesday, Sunday, Thursday, I love how I said that out of order. They tend to be very tolerable days to go after 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to save that much money, so yeah.
Yeah. Our next number 7 here, our next rule or guide thing that we can give you. This one's really important. Make sure your phone is charged and bring a portable charger. Like you're gonna be taking video, you're gonna be taking lots of pictures, and you want to make sure your phone doesn't die like halfway through the event, because then you're like, shit, and there goes all my memories now.
Yeah, I mean, everything is just kept in your head. I have the bad tendency to do that. For example, today that happened. I been on my phone all day at work, and by the time I got to the park, I was like, "Fuck, I am at 4%." So
Jeez.
I literally sat down like next to like guest services, and I just charged it near a random outlet, just being randomly stared at. Just yeah, don't do that. Don't be me.
Yeah. And not only that, obviously the parks do sell portable chargers.
Yeah.
They are a little expensive though. So what I would personally recommend, go to like a Marshalls or Ross. They sell really good, strong portable chargers in there that will give you like a good, like strong charge, so your phone will last the majority of the event.
Yeah. And you just can't help it. You want to show and share the experiences with other people, and that's what
And you want to play
theme
heads
parks
up
want
in
you to
line.
do.
Yeah, and you want to play heads up in line.
Yeah, heads
That's like
up, everybody. That's the game. That
that's
is
like
the game.
that
At
is like a
HHN.
Horror Night staple at this point. Yes.
Yeah, it's not Horror Nights if you're not seeing a random group of people playing heads up. But yeah, that is before the event. Charge your phone, invite your friends, buy some spooky merch, all of that jazz. Parking, just pay it. But if you don't, you're cheap. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so now that we are ready to go in our car and arriving at HHN with the terrible traffic, of course, at 5:00, we are at the event. And at the event, just follow a couple of our tips to at least make the most out of your night. So let's go. For Yussef, I don't know why he does this. I don't do this. But,
well, I do it because I get a lot of emotion out of it. I still keep these. I always grab a map just because I like to hold on to the maps. I have every map since 22 or 23 because that's around the time my brother and I started going together. And just for like the nostalgia's sake and just like the emotional value to it, I always like to keep the maps. Like every once in a while I'll open them up and be like, oh man, this was such a good year. Like I remember walking through the scare zone and like having this happen,
Yeah, nah, I took those things for granted. Now I wish I can go back and grab every map, but here I am.
And not only that, it also helps you plan out, like which areas you want to go through first. Because, you're like, ooh, this certain scare zone might be really, really interesting, but this one looks scarier. Like, which one do I want to hit first? Like, and that not only that, it'll help you plan out. It's like, oh, if I go this way, I'll get to this house quicker.
Yeah.
So that's what we definitely recommend. Yeah.
Yeah, but after you grab your map, I think this is the number one rule.
Yes,
always
I agree.
Start from the back.
Please.
So this is what I was referring to earlier. If you're planning on doing a one night, start from the very back of the park. This is anywhere from where Fear Factor is, Men in Black, the two houses in Men in Black, because there's always like two
the
right
ET
next
area.
to next to ET area. Like those are because everybody tends to go clockwise instead of counterclockwise. So if you go counterclockwise, you'll get to see more because nobody is going to those first. Because always in the front is like DIP, which everybody wants to see.
Yeah.
And then they start making their way around until they reach the end of the event. And I know that there's some strategies where I have done it where I get the most busiest house first, get that one out of the way, and by the time I get out, everything else is dead. But the strategy is also not 100%, especially if you're only going for your first time. Yes, please start from the back.
Exactly, especially because, like Vania said, everybody that the majority of people are going to go to those first houses that they see. So like the Shrek one, the one in front of Rip Ride, the two by the Jimmy Fallon and the Mummy areas. So while everybody's milling about over there, that's your chance to go to ET area, go to the Men in Black area. By the time you're done there and you're walking towards the other side, everybody that was in the front is walking to the back. So like you're missing the big crowds essentially. You're like superseding the big crowds.
Yeah. So but this is if you're trying to avoid express, but of course, like I said, the strategy is not always 100%, but it's always been kind of proven through and through, at least for me. So yeah,
I would say that's like a 70 to 75% effective like strategy. So it works the majority of the time.
Works better than the pull-out method. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my god. Jesus, Vania, please.
Hey.
You need some water? You need some water? You're a little thirsty over there.
Yussef, sweetie, sit
Sweetie.
down.
Don't call me sweetie.
Uh, sit down.
Sit down, be humble.
Mm-hmm. Good to know that we're learning things. Anyway, um, it's not an episode without me insulting the crap out of this dude. I
That's
swear.
true. But our next one is really cool. Again, this one's more of like an opinion type thing. You don't have to do this, but I found that it's really interesting. It's a really fun way to like not only meet new people but get through the line a little bit quicker because you don't pay attention to how long you've been waiting and everything. But if you see somebody wearing HHN merch from like previous years, or if you see somebody wearing a horror shirt that you like, or just you overhear somebody talking about something, don't be afraid to like join in or ask them a question or something. A lot of the times they might have input, or they might tell you it's like, oh yeah, like I actually just went to this house and like it was really good, or like this is like some stuff I think you might like about it. So you strike up a nice conversation, you get to meet people from the HHN community, just people from the horror community in general, and to who knows, you might end up making friends that way.
I mean, I feel like I'm always the one that eavesdrops and then puts in my opinion, but that's just creepy. Don't do that. But yeah, I think it's a great way. But most of the time I just stare at people, shirts, and just say I like your shirt, and it just ends up thanks.
Mhm.
It's like silence.
Yeah, and even then too, like let's say you're easily scared. If you see somebody in front of you that or behind you that might same as us, that might look like a pro, has a couple of looks like they've been to the event multiple times, don't be afraid to ask them. It's like, hey, can I like go with you? Like you seem to know what you're doing, and that might help your experience too, where you're not as scared.
And you want to enjoy the overall house and not waste half
Exactly.
your time looking down like me in
Yeah.
Nightingale's blood pit.
Because that's I haven't asked anybody to do that with, but I've had people ask me. It's like, hey, like because they see that I have an HHN shirt from like a year ago or 2 years ago. They're like, hey, like, can we go with you? And like, and your family, like, we don't want to do this by ourselves. We get scared. And, like, I've had that happen. So like, I like the fact that people look at us like apparently we're experts or something. We're like PhDs in Horror Nights, according to them. And I appreciate the
You're
fact
almost
that
to your
that's
PhD.
that like people use that as a bonding experience too, of like, oh, we met literally because I was grabbing onto your shirt the entire time. So
Or
yeah.
or we have people like tackling onto you on the in the
Mm.
line. But anywho, but of course, other than his lovely suggestion, always strike up a conversation with people around, especially if you're uncomfortable. But take your time walking through the scare zones and enjoy the overall vibe and the interactions with the scare actors.
Hmm.
I think that's one of my favorite things to
Yes.
do at HHM.
Yeah, definitely. I did this last year. Unfortunately, I didn't do it in the best scare zone because we had been going with some family friends, and they were like, "Oh, we don't get to go to the park often because we don't have annual passes, so we're gonna try and hit some of the rides too." So they were like, "Okay, we're gonna go hit Mummy," and the lines were a little bit long for Mummy, so we were waiting for them in the middle of Zombieland, and I'm like, I don't like Zombieland. Like, not
Yeah,
because it's scary or anything. I was just like, and most people agree, like Zombieland was like one of the weaker scare zones of the
yeah,
last year.
they tried,
Yeah,
but
but
they failed.
yeah, like places, like getting the vibes from the Vanity Ball area, getting vibes from Twisted Traditions and Vikings Undead, like that. That is like the best place to kind of just chill for a bit and just like really absorb the scare zone.
Yeah.
Like that area of Hollywood where Vanity Ball was, where the the Shutter scare zone, or not Shutter, the Face Off scare zone was, and
Hmm.
by like the Central Park with Trick or Treat and Vikings Undead and all that kind of stuff. Like those two, I think, are the best areas to just kind of like really walk around, get immersed in the whole experience, and just like let go, really, just have fun.
I completely agree. That is definitely one of the better ways to do it.
Hmm.
So,
Oof, yes, this big one. This is a big one. Please, please. This one's not like a suggestion of like, oh, maybe you can try this. This one's like kind of ironclad. When you're gonna be taking pictures, make sure your flash is off.
Oh yeah, they don't like
Please,
bright lights.
yes, it hurts the scare actors' eyes, and sometimes when they're wearing full makeup, full mask, sometimes that limits their field of vision, and if you flash your camera, that could blind them, and they're
Yeah,
like walking around, and not only that, if outside of the scare actors, if some of the other team members that are supervising there see you doing that, they will call you out and be like, hey, please, like, don't do that. That bothers the scare actors. That messes with
yeah,
them a little bit. So like, for everybody's sake, just please make sure your flash is turned off.
yeah. The entire time because that shit's annoying,
All of us
honestly.
will thank you. The team members will thank you. The scare actors will thank you.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. And what's our
So,
next one?
well, you have to plan out which restaurants will be open so you can grab a little bite to eat. I personally, me, I like to go to Monsters Cafe during HHN because of the bomb ass curly fries and of course some little grub here and there. I think they have some pizza. I think I
Mm-hmm.
forgot.
Yeah.
They have pizza, but that's just me personally. I personally like going to Monster Cafe.
Yeah, I always go between it just depends on my mood. It's usually either the die-in Mel's or the Monsters Cafe.
It's always so busy though.
Yeah, Mel's is always really busy. I don't know. Mel's is like a special place for me. Like that's my go-to restaurant whenever I'm at the parks. So like that's
Yeah,
why I'm just so used to being there. But yeah,
true.
like it always helps out to like plan out. It's like, oh, like we should go eat at like this place because it doesn't seem like it's going to be that busy around that area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you can choose either or.
Yeah.
Mel's Diane is more of the popular
Oh yeah.
selection, but if you like less lines and faster food,
Mm-hmm.
Monster Cafe Master Race. No kidding. Uh,
Monster Cafe Master Race. I love
Hell
that.
yeah. But either way, make sure that you try some of the food that are only available during the event, like the pizza fries and the twisted taters and potato sticks for kids.
I couldn't. I forgot the name for twisted taters. I just wrote potato sticks on the dock because I
Oh
couldn't
my
think of what
god,
they were. I was like, God damn it! What was the name of
potato
those snacks? I'm like, just call them potato sticks.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
it
It's a potato on a
will
stick.
offend a lot of Twisted Tater fans. But yeah, those are basically the signature food for HHN
Yeah, and
especially.
and I know both of us were hoes for pizza fries.
Oh yeah. There's always like this rivalry for pizza fries and twisted taters, but honestly pizza fries wins every single
Like,
time.
if you guys want to see a funny picture, go on our Instagram. You'll see a picture of Vanya dressed up as Steve from Stranger Things, just giving like the funniest face while eating pizza fries. So please check that out.
Yeah, so I'm a little sucker for pizza fries,
Yeah.
just as I am for Steve Cream. Hi, hello.
Steve Cream, you never get old.
Oh, never.
But this next one is not super important. But if you are going to be drinking alcohol at the event, first of all, know how well you hold your alcohol. Don't go crazy,
Yep.
because we hate having to deal with drunk people. They're the worst.
Yeah.
So please just be careful with that. Like make sure you know how to hold your alcohol. But if you are going to be drinking, don't go ahead and try some of the exclusive like drinks and cocktails. They usually have random like mixed cocktails and stuff that are exclusive to HHN, and a lot of the times are pretty good. Some of them are decent. Some of them are not so good. Circus Peanut.
Oh my god. I mean, it's an official like HHN. At least not stamped.
We'll call it.
Thing.
It is HHN light. We'll still call it an HHN cocktail though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, could be worse. Could be worse.
Hmm. But
I
yeah.
mean, nothing's kind of worse than.
Yeah. And not only that, if you buy an alcoholic drink, you can get a Blinky cup, and Blinky
Yeah,
cups are life.
I don't know. How are they not making our phones like those Winky Cup batteries? We need that technology.
Oh, like charge, like you can charge them and stuff.
No, like the Blinky Cups lights never die.
Oh
How are they
yeah,
not making our phones
yeah.
like that?
They're
I was
like,
like, what the
well,
fuck?
it's because they're powered by like human souls, so they never die.
Oh my
It's probably
god.
what it is.
The light will fade, but it will never die. I still
Why
have.
does that? Why does that sound like something that will be on somebody's tombstone? Like the light may fade, but it will never die.
Oh my god. You're so fucking dramatic. Oh my gosh.
That's like somebody's yearbook quote right there.
Yo, take me back to high school. I would do stuff differently, man. I'm telling you. But either way, yeah, it will definitely fade, but it won't die, and we need that technology for our phones. So, somebody get that man a promotion and to make our phones. Thank you.
Yeah. Our next rule here, or our next piece of info, is very, very important. Please stay hydrated.
Oh yeah.
Even though it's going to be September, October, it's going to be fall. Florida does not give a shit that it's spooky fall season. Florida's still going to be like, bitch, it's going to be hot.
No, it's not even that, Yussef. It's either it's really hot, or it's really cold, or it's really rainy.
Yeah.
There's no in between.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, it's drizzling a little bit, and it's like, nah, it's like full blown tropical storm time.
Yeah, or I've been at HHN during not winter time, but there's like been like cold fronts, and I'm just looking for that really weird area in the back of Men in Black. If you guys have been to the event, you guys know what I'm talking about. Like in the back of Men in Black, for the queue that they always use for like Slaughter Cinema or Halloween or any of the 3D houses, there's always that little weird vent that is hot as fuck. And it's really good when it's cold.
It's really bad when it's hot. You're like, please kill me.
I was like, please, like, someone please move from this air vent. Like, please, I don't know what they're powering in there, but I don't want it. Like, that's probably the only entire generator for the ride, to be fair.
But yeah, definitely, it is important though. Just stay hydrated. Like, you don't want to. Like I said, it's most of the time it might get hot, so you don't want to go through anything like that.
Hey, can I add something?
Yeah.
Wear fucking deodorant, please. Thank you.
For everybody's sake, please.
God.
Yeah, like
I get it, like your natural smells, but nobody wants to get that natural deceased smell when you die inside the house. Okay, I don't need that added on. No, send that bitch to the caretaker. Anyway, no, I'm kidding. We love you. Please, please, thank you.
Yeah, but Vania, what is our next rule? What is number 10?
Well, since we are still in Panda Express, I mean pandemic.
Panda, we're still inside of Panda Express. Oh my god.
Since we're still in a Panda Express, I mean pandemic. Wear a mask, social distance. I don't know what else to tell you other than get vaccinated, but that's like half the world in Florida with our rising numbers. Thank you, assholes. But please.
Yep. And thank you, Ron DeSantis, for being a fucking asshole.
Oh, for sure. So wear a mask.
Yeah.
Social distance. Make sure to follow all safety guidelines inside the park, or else they will have to escort you out. There has been many instances, not only for intoxication.
I like how your voice transitioned to like ride mode. It's like, please keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the vehicle at all times. You're like, yeah, please wear a mask and social distance at all times, and make sure to follow all the posted safety guidelines. Like your voice just like switched into that so quickly.
What can I say? I get creative.
Oh, that was funny. I love that.
But either way, I need to get hired as the monorail operator anyway. But either way, we're still in a pandemic. Get vaccinated. If not, wear a mask. Do us all a favor. Don't ruin the event for us. It's not like it can get ruined. You're just gonna make the cases get worse. Delta variant is gonna room supreme, and we're all gonna die. No, I'm kidding. Please get vaccinated. I'm dead serious. Yeah.
But yeah.
Let's get it. Next one. What is?
So the next one kind of goes back to our pre-event stuff. But if you're able to, buy some of the souvenirs. Like outside of just the main, event shirt, they have plenty of other different shirts that are tied to some of the event stuff. There's lanyards, pins, cups, buttons, like a bunch of stuff relating to HHN. So like if you want to catch some merch, there's plenty to choose from.
Oh yeah. Ooh, for sure.
I almost forgot. I almost forgot about this one. Visit the tribute store.
I never went to the tribute store during any HHN event until HHN Light.
Funny enough, I did it for a couple of reasons. One, because not a lot of people went because they were too focused on the houses, so I just really got a chance to just kind of walk around and chill.
Yeah.
Second of all, I got to chill because it got hot. Sometimes it would just get hot as fuck, and they have a really nice AC in there.
Oh yeah. Team
So,
members blessed. But yeah. Either way, just do it. Now that there's a lot of theming and we learn to appreciate it more, just please go to the tribute store. You won't regret it.
yeah.
Especially during spooky season. And number 12, if you want to take a break from the scare zones and the houses, it's always a good idea to hit up the rides, but,
Booty.
booty. The rides do close at 10, so very mindful when planning on taking this break and riding the rides. So they do close at 10. I don't know if it's any different this year, but it has been without fail every year that they close at 10. So if you want to ride anything, while it's low in attraction time, then go do it. It's probably 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe 30, but that's pushing it. That kind of thing.
Especially if you're, somebody who's not an annual pass or doesn't get to go to the parks often, it's a good chance to experience some of the rides and, also take a break from the houses and scare zones because some people are like, I need a second.
Yeah. But
but our next one, again, this does not apply to us just yet because we don't know what this is going to be show wise. But if possible, try to catch an early showtime. They're not going to be as full because everybody's going to just run houses first and then do shows. So that's like getting that first showtime is really a much better experience. So that way you get like the best out of the show,
But yeah, when it comes to the shows, it's definitely better to catch it early because the likelihood that these actors or the performers will have high energy is going to be a really good possibility. And, it's going to be giving it all they got. And then the more you wait and you get the later dates, they are still going to be high energy, but not as high energy as the first. Because
correct.
mind you, they're doing this over and over.
Yeah, it's
over.
like
And
4 or 5 times a night. Yeah, like that's exhausting. So
yeah, for sure. So they're especially since they're trying to get that entertainment to anyone that's interested in watching and a diverse time. So hopefully, with this incorporated and with the social distancing, it's not going to be too stressful on the performers as well. But most importantly, 14, 14, 14 is have fun.
Yes.
I always have fun every year. At least I try to. But never had a complaint about it. Follow all these rules and your HHN will be very successful. And try different things. Like I know that each HHN you learn something new and you tried new things. I know that I have never done Stay and Scream. That's another thing that I wish we could talk to you about, but we have never done it. But I heard it's also going to be a really good experience. But adding on to the having fun, make sure that you check up Halloween Horror Nights website for all the hotel packages, especially with the hotels and the HHN Icons bar that will be there exclusively for the event for hotel guests. And so you can take pictures inside of Jack's iconic blender, and I think there's going to be some characters walking around.
Possibly, yeah.
And so this is going to be, I think, before the event or during the event. I'm not too entirely sure. But yeah, also if you're interested on also doing a staycation, if you're from Florida, check out the hotels and, the other things that the park and the resort has to offer on HHN.
Yep. But now, our last rule. Please be respectful of your fellow event goers, the scare actors, the team members. Just be respectful, period. Don't be a Karen. Don't be a dick. You're there to have fun. You're not there to complain. You're not there to be a dick. Yeah, a Richard. Don't be a Richard.
Yeah, be a Richard.
Obviously, if something happens where something just any issue, try your best to just be respectful around the people that you are going to be talking to. Don't just start yelling at people. Don't curse them out. It's not their fault. They're just working there. It's not their fault. That somehow your app, your a time that you had reserved on the app just disappeared. It's not their fault. It just could have been the
Yeah.
app. You know, we dealt with that during HHN Light where we had reserved times for some of the houses and then they just disappeared. But like we were like, oh man, that sucks. We'll go to get services, figure out what's going on, and that was it. Like super easy fix. Yeah, but
And most of the things are very fixable,
yeah,
especially at
yeah.
Universal. So
And not only that, people are more liable to help you if you are nice to them.
yeah,
So like
don't
don't walk in there, don't burst open the doors and be like, serve me now, peasant.
yeah. I mean, only fear can do that, but
Yes, only fear
he's
can
a
do
whole he's a whole being, but
that. But yeah, that is really our whole uh HHN survival guide.
yeah. So there is only a few weeks away until the event, and I hope that you hold that these rules, suggestions, what have you, close to your heart, and just think about it.
Hmm.
You could make the most out of your event, whether you're going for one day or for multiple days. Just plan accordingly, especially for high prioritize the houses you want to see.
Hmm.
By I feel like by priority, that's also another thing, and I feel like that's gonna make and that could either make or break your trip to HHN,
Hmm.
but for the most part, you will have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, we really hope that in making this guide that we're able to help some people really get the most out of the event and just be able to say, hey, that was, my best year yet, or this was a great way to start my first year at Horror Nights type thing. Like, if we're
Mhm.
able to do that for somebody, I think that would just make this episode all worth it, honestly.
I agree too.
Yeah. But obviously there are some things we didn't really go into detail with regarding like ticket prices and that kind of stuff. So you can also check the previous episode where we talked about the multi-night tickets. If you had questions about that. So, but yeah, that's really all we had on that.
Yeah.
But it is now time for some housekeeping. So, Vanya, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter and YouTube at HHN Cultist. I do makeup blogs, Howling Horror Nights, Talk Horror, you name it. If you're into that kind of stuff, feel free to hit me up, subscribe,
Yeah,
follow, all that kind of nice jazz.
yeah,
So,
and not only that, Vanya posted a video a couple days ago, doing like a quick catch up on everything going on in horror, especially the HHN community. So if you want like a quick rundown and just like, be like, oh, okay, I didn't know this was happening. Now I'm all caught up. I don't feel as, distant from the community as I used to, that kind of stuff. So definitely check out that video and you'll be all caught up.
yeah, thank you. But there's also other cool people in this podcast,
There
such
are.
as Yussef. Oh my god. He likes to
Who? Where?
flatter himself. It's kind of gross. But where can we find you? I almost said something else, but
Oh
I'm
my
gonna hold
god.
my tongue.
But yeah, you can find me on for my personal stuff on Instagram at Yusef1220 and on Twitter at Yusef or it be Yusef. And then for this lovely podcast, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter as Sounds from the Grave. We also have our email, soundsfromthegravepodcast at gmail.com. And if you want to listen to our podcast, we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and pretty much anywhere else that you can find a podcast.
Yeah. So one more thing, we are very close, very, very, very close to 1,000
Yes.
listens. So if you guys can give those, we will give something back. A soul for a soul, in a sense. One of them being a compilation of all the fucking stupid shit that we say during, before show,
And after recording.
especially before and after recording, and it's gonna be fantastic. It's mostly me fucking up and saying stupid shit, just like I messed up in this video, which
Or me
you
making
will
dad
see very,
jokes.
very later on. But either way, but on top of that, we are also doing a giveaway.
Yes, yes,
We
yes.
are not going to be telling that right away, but get us to 1,000 listens, and it could be sooner than you think.
Yes, because we're very, very close. We're tantalizingly close.
Yes.
But yeah, yeah. So we're actually not sure what the giveaway is going to be yet. We're still debating on what we think would be a cool giveaway. But as soon as we nail something down and we get close to that goal, we'll release some more details and we'll release like the giveaway rules and all that kind of stuff. But that'll happen
Yeah,
eventually.
sounds good.
Yeah. But for now, we bid you guys a good day or good night for whenever you're listening to this, and that you stay spooky.
Stay spooky. Bye.
Bye, everybody.